Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about Faust and why you should read it if you haven't already. This is my favorite play of all time. Yes, I put it above anything Shakespeare's ever written. I'm going to get into a couple reasons why that's the case for me personally towards the end of the video. First, I want to talk about a couple facts about the play. I want to give you guys a synopsis of what the play is about. Then I want to provide you guys with a couple of highly regarded adaptations that I think pair beautifully with the play. A couple of additional books that I would also read alongside it, maybe even before you read this version of Faust. And then at the very end, we're going to look at a couple paintings that I think are just absolutely magnificent, and they really reflect the impact and influence that Faust has had on humanity and society. So Faust was written by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. It was published originally in two parts. So the first part was published in 1808, and the second part was published in 1832. It was published posthumously, so it was after Faust's death. And you can tell that Faust was a very different man in the second part. It took him about 60 years to write Faust in total. And the first part he wrote as a younger man, and you can tell it's a lot more straightforward, a lot more direct, whereas the second part of Faust is a lot more abstract. It's a lot more surreal. It's a lot more poetic, and it's a very, very difficult piece of literature to dissect and to pull apart. And that's why I love it so much, is because it's so complicated. It takes time. You're not going to understand Faust, I think, on the first time you read it. You're going to have to come back to it multiple times throughout your life. And it's works like that, works of fiction like that, that are just truly awe-inspiring and transformative. So that's a big reason why I suggest reading this play. So a quick synopsis on what the play is about. In Goethe's Faust, the erudite yet disillusioned scholar Heinrich Faust seeks ultimate knowledge and meaning beyond the confines of human understanding. Frustrated by the limits of earthly wisdom, he enters into a pact with Mephistopheles, a demon who promises him infinite knowledge and worldly pleasures in exchange for his soul. As Faust indulges in profound experiences and sensual delights, he becomes entangled in a tragic romance with the innocent Gretchen, whose life is devastated by their affair. The narrative weaves through themes of ambition, temptation, love, and redemption, culminating in Faust's relentless pursuit of enlightenment and the eternal struggle between good and evil within the human spirit. Having immersed myself in Goethe's Faust, I am endlessly captivated by its profound exploration of the human condition and the relentless quest for meaning that resonates so deeply within us all. The lyrical beauty of Goethe's language weaves a memorizing tapestry of emotion and intellect, where every line and metaphor invites introspective and wonder. The lyrical beauty of Goethe's language weaves a memorizing tapestry of emotion and intellect, where every line and metaphor invites introspection and wonder. Faust's journey through ambition, love, despair, and redemption mirrors our own struggles and aspirations, making his story not just a literary masterpiece, but a mirror to our souls. The rich symbolism and complex characters offers layers of depth that reveal new insights with each reading, encouraging a deeper understanding of morality, desire, and the essence of fulfillment. Faust is not merely a book to be read, but an experience to be felt and pondered, compelling everyone to delve into its pages and discover the timeless wisdom and beauty that have enchanted readers for generations. Next up, I want to talk about a couple adaptations that I think are absolutely beautiful and are highly regarded, and you should probably pair with your reading of Goethe's Faust. So the first one is the 1926 film by W.F. Murnau. Experiencing 1926 Faust is like stepping into a memorizing dream where shadow and light dance in perfect harmony, bringing Goethe's timeless tale to vivid life without a single spoken word. The film's stunning expressionist visuals and masterful cinematography create an atmospheric tapestry that immerses you in Faust's tormented soul and his desperate quest for meaning and redemption. Every frame is meticulously crafted, blending surreal imagery with profound emotional depth, allowing the silent narrative to speak volumes through gestures and symbolism. Murnau's innovative use of special effects and hauntingly beautiful set designs elevate the story, making each scene a powerful exploration of ambition, temptation, and the internal struggle between good and evil. Watching Faust is not just viewing a film, it's embarking on a transcendent journey that captivates the heart and mind, showcasing the brilliance of early cinema and reaffirming why it's a masterpiece which remains essential and enchanting. Watching Faust is not just viewing a film. It's embarking on a transcendent journey that captivates the heart and mind, showcasing the brilliance of early cinema and reaffirming why this masterpiece remains an essential and enchanting experience for all who seek profound and visually stunning storytelling. So, a couple more things that I would say about the 1926 film. It's never been topped. There are other film adaptations of Faust out there, but since 1926, nothing's ever topped this. This is one of the most beautiful films I've ever come across in my life. If you go to film school, you're definitely going to learn about it. It's right up there with Metropolis, Dr. Caligari's Cabinet, Nosferatu, Gollum, all of those fantastic early silent films. They're absolutely necessary for you to watch. And this film is free on YouTube, so there's no excuses. You can go watch this right now. So I highly, highly recommend 1926 Faust. So there's a couple other adaptations that I would highly recommend alongside with the 1926 film. So there's a couple stage plays, particularly by directors Peter Stein and Robert Wilson. I highly recommend both of those. Those are both of the best stage plays that I've seen of Goethe's Faust. For radio broadcast, there's a BBC radio adaptation of Faust. It's about 4 hours long, and it's also free on YouTube for you guys to go check out. I highly, highly recommend it. It's very compelling. And if you open up the pages of Faust and it's a little bit too dense, it's a little bit too difficult, it's too poetic, maybe engage with the radio broadcast first, maybe engage with the film first, and then make your way into Goethe's Faust. I'm not here to tell you guys that Faust is an accessible play to get into. It is dense, but I highly recommend it, and any way you can get into it is a good way. So another one that I would recommend is Faust by Charles Gounod. This is an opera. I know opera is not for everybody, but it's also free on YouTube for you to watch. It's about 2.5 hours long or something like that. And also Mephistopheles by Arrigo Boito. I'm butchering some Italian names there, but I apologize. Both of those operas are fantastic. Again, you guys can watch them on YouTube, so those resources are free. But I would highly recommend those adaptations to pair along with Faust. There's 2 books that I would also read with Faust. So Faust is not an original concept from Goethe. He did not come up with the character Faust. Faust was an actual human being. I'll put him somewhere up on screen right now. You guys can go check out his Wikipedia page. This was an actual guy. And then there was a play or a book. I forget what it was. There was an early piece of fiction written about him about 5 years before the Marlowe adaptation, I believe. And then Christopher Marlowe wrote Dr. Faustus, which is fantastic. This predates Goethe's Faust by quite a bit, but I also highly recommend reading Marlowe's Faust. It's more of a tragedy. It ends in a tragic way, I should say, whereas Goethe's Faust kind of, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't read it yet, but Goethe's Faust takes it to another level. He elevates this story past what Christopher Marlowe was able to present. And Christopher Marlowe's play is 80 pages long, whereas Goethe's is somewhere between 400 and 500 pages, depends on your edition, but quite a bit longer for Goethe's Faust than it is for Dr. Faustus by Marlowe. Another one that I would highly recommend is Dr. Faustus by Thomas Mann. This is a modern-day reimagining set in early 20th century Germany, intertwining music, philosophy, and politics, reflecting on the moral decay leading up to World War II. I haven't actually finished this yet, but I am working through it currently. I highly recommend it. It's fantastic, so you should read Dr. Faustus by Thomas Mann, and the original play of Faust by Christopher Marlowe. Again, I believe there's another piece of fiction that predates even Marlowe, but Marlowe is the earliest one that I've read, and it's more accessible. So you guys can go find Marlowe on YouTube. I believe there's an audiobook for the play, and there's also a BBC radio broadcast for the Marlowe Faust play. So I highly recommend that as well. I believe it's the same cast, actually, that did the did the Goethe Faust radio broadcast. So BBC's fantastic for that. I wish they do more of that stuff. I think they still do a lot of radio broadcasts. That's more of a thing in Europe than it is over here in America, but fantastic. Highly recommend it. Lastly, to wrap up today, I want to take a look at a couple paintings that I think are particularly beautiful, and I want to show you guys just how much Faust has impacted and influenced art since its release, whether it's the Marlowe Faust play or the Goethe Faust play. So Faust is it's up there. You know, I think the golden age of painting was probably somewhere between 1400 and 1900. I know that that's a huge gap, and that covers multiple eras of painting. Early classical, Renaissance, and Romantic eras, and all of that to me is the best painting. I think most of the stuff past 1900 is rather crap, but that's just my opinion. You know, that's completely subjective. But I think most people kind of see it my way. I think most people think that the greatest paintings of all time were kind of painted in that era, and there are particular stories that influence the majority of those paintings. Now, most of them are influenced by the Bible. That's just the way it is. Most of the paintings I'm referring to when I say paintings, I'm referring to European paintings for the most part. So I want to clarify there, but most European paintings from 1400 to about 1900 were heavily influenced by the stories of the Bible. And of course, prior to 1400, even a higher percentage were influenced by the Bible. Post like 1500, you know, more works of fiction were starting to work their way into art. That's kind of what the Renaissance was. It was kind of this reversion back to the early antiquity, early Greek plays, and they started painting Greek gods alongside, you know, the more Christian art. So there was this kind of explosion of art in the 14, 15, 1600s. And there's pieces of fiction that influenced art more than others. And some of them would be Paradise Lost, Dante's Inferno, Dante's Divine Comedy in general, and Faust would be up there too. I've seen a lot of great renditions of Faust. I've seen probably over 100 paintings of just the play of Faust, of just the story of Faust. So here are a couple of my favorites. I'm not going to show every single one, though. There's too many out there. Maybe one day I'll do like an art analysis video where we'll take apart 10 of them, and we'll go a little bit deeper into the Faust story and analyzing it. But today I just want to showcase 3 of them. I'm going to talk about 4, but I can only show you guys 3 of them. So this first one is called Faust and Mephistopheles by Anton Kuhlbach. You can see Faust here in the middle, beautifully painted. I mean, the detail in this painting is fantastic. Faust here, or Mephistopheles here to the right. You can see he's got this like jagged nose, very sharp features. His eyebrows are very jagged. His ears are almost shaped like elf ears, or demonic, like satanic ears. So this character of Mephistopheles looks exactly like how we would imagine Satan today. So that's quite interesting. And then you look to the other side and you see one of these nymphs or fairies next to Faust. And I won't get too much into that because I want you guys to actually read Faust and experience it on your own. So it's better to go in a little bit blind and experience all the fantastical characters for yourself. This next painting by Joseph Fay is called Faust's Despair, and this shows Faust with Gretchen and Mephistopheles. I'm not going to explain this painting because that would be spoiling the play, but this is a fantastic painting that I will eventually go into more detail about because there's a lot of hidden details within this. Next up, we have Faust and Lilith by Richard Westall. This one I cannot show to you guys, unfortunately, but I highly recommend you go and Google this painting immediately after this video because it is gorgeous. It's hyper detailed. It just showcases a little bit too much nudity for me to put on YouTube, but you can see Faust with Lilith. You can see Mephistopheles down to the left. He's completely covered in shadow. You can barely make out his face at all. Great piece of our artistic creativity there to completely shadow off Mephistopheles. And then you see in the background, you see there's bands playing music, there's people dancing. It's an incredibly complex and detailed painting, and I highly recommend you go stare at it for a couple minutes at least, if not a couple hours. I could stare at that painting all day. Lastly, I want to give you guys probably my favorite rendition of Faust. Maybe not. There's a lot of good ones out there, but I really like this one. It's Faust and Mephistopheles by Odilon Redon, and this came out in 1880. It's more of a sketch than a painting, Probably didn't take as long as the Richard Westall painting. That one probably took about a year. This probably could have been sketched out in maybe even a day, maybe a couple days or a week or something. But Odilon Redon, he portrays Faust and Mephistopheles here in such an interesting way. So at the center, at the bottom of the sketch here, you have Faust, and he's kind of detailed out in pretty good detail here. It's a little bit shadowed. You can't exactly see his face, but it's detailed. You can make out the facial features here. You can see his beard, his nose, his eyes, obviously. But you look behind him here, and you can see Mephistopheles distorted. You can't actually see his face. You can make out that this is a human being, or there's a human image here, but you can't make out his face. It's distorted. And what I love about that is that that points to the actual character of Mephistopheles. You know, Faust, or Goethe, is engaging with deep, deep fundamental truths here with Faust. He's trying to get at something that's unsaid, something in the unconscious. You know, he's talking about the shadow. He's talking about the snake that crawls up your back and overtakes you sometimes. There's a lot of different ways of visualizing it, and that's why the play is so poetic, and that's why the play works. You have to be abstract when you're talking about the elements of the unconscious, especially the shadow. So the shadow shouldn't be, you know, perfectly detailed out. Maybe they should have some obscureness to them. And I think that that's what Odilon Redon is kind of getting at here, that the shadow is obscured. It's not something that's, you know, in The Usual Suspects, there's a line that's something like, you know, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that he never existed. And there's a deep truth to that Satan or evil or your shadow disguises itself. It doesn't come to you as, you know, I'm evil and I'm presenting you evil. It comes to you like Mephistopheles does in Faust, with a bargain. It presents to you something great, something that seems good, you know, endless knowledge, endless pleasure. But there's something underneath that that's distorted, that's unseen, that's dark. And that's what this sketch is trying to get at, that there's something there that's not being quite fully revealed. And that's the bargain of Mephistopheles. That's the taking of Faust's soul. So I think that that's beautifully displayed here in this sketch. And I just wanted to show you guys that today to kind of just expand on how much this play has not just influenced me, but the world and society at large, at least Western society. You know, there's, like I said, there's hundreds of Faust paintings out there. There's so many different adaptations. I've showed you guys a couple operas today, stage plays, films, radio broadcasts. You know, there's bands named Faust out there. I don't know how much of a connection they have to the actual story, but there's a band out there that's pretty popular called Faust. So Faust has had a huge impact on us as a society and as humanity, because it's getting at something very core. And it does it in such a beautiful way. It's masterful. You know, Goethe was a genius beyond belief. He had contributed to science in so many different ways, and then to also write something as deep and as transformative as Faust is just, oh man, I can't wait to make a full video on Faust and a full video on Goethe. So those will be coming in the future. If you guys have read this play, or if I convinced you to read this play, please come back to this video and let me know down in the comments, what do you guys think of the play? What are your favorite parts of it? Try not to spoil anything for anybody who hasn't read the play and they might be perusing through the comments. Try to keep spoiler free, but let me know what you guys think of Faust, because for me, like I said, it's my favorite play of all time, and I wanted to share it with you guys today. So hopefully I convinced at least one person to go out and read it. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends. It helps boost this channel and the algorithm. And yeah, thank you guys for watching as always. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.